What's up guys, welcome back to the Brocast. We're going to talk about 3 games today. We're going to talk about Batman Arkham Knight, which you guys can play very soon. Then we're going to talk about Rise of the Tomb Raider. Lara Croft is back. How about that, guys? And lastly, we're going to talk about a remake that's on its way. And let me see, what game would be nice to get a remake of? Oh, I got it! Final Fantasy VII. So let's start with everybody's favorite girl. Lara Croft is back in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider is supposedly going to be a sequel to the Tomb Raider release from 2013. In Rise of the Tomb Raider, we follow Lara Croft and Jonah Mayawa as they search Siberia for the ancient city Kitezh. Lara believes that this specific place could hold ancient knowledge regarding possible immortality. But Lara is of course not the only one interested in this information. In a race against the well-funded organization Trinity, not a very original name, huh guys? Anyway, against that she'll be fighting both humans and animals in order to survive and succeed in her mission. So the question is, what's new in this game compared to some of the other games in the series? Well, besides the new scenery of Siberia and a new story or mission, the game now also features a crafting system that allows players to create items by scavenging materials from plants and animals from the environment. Other than that, we know that the game has improved its sneak and stealth mechanics. You can, for instance, climb up trees, travel over rooftops, hide behind bushes and so on to confuse or simply to sneak by your enemies. I mean, it's not exactly revolutionizing, but hey, by simply improving upon what they did well in the previous game, they can't go entirely wrong, right? But honestly, I don't really know what to expect from this game. I mean, it looks really good, and I'm sure that if Crystal Dynamics puts in the effort, Crystal Dynamics is the developers, by the way, if they put in the effort, then I'm sure it can be a great game. The thing that usually worries me about these kind of games is that they have this blockbuster title, and sometimes game developers just rely on the title and don't put too much effort into actually making a great game. Hopefully that won't happen with this title. The game is scheduled to be released on November 10th, 2015, so this year on the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. So no love for us PC gamers, or PlayStation gamers, by the way. Alright, next up we're going to talk about the new Batman game, Batman Arkham Knight. And if you guys are super excited to be playing this game, then fret not, because the game will be releasing tomorrow on June the 23rd. The new Batman game is, as the previous ones, action-adventure games. The game is developed by Rocksteady Studios and published by Warner Bros. The game's plot revolves around Batman, obviously, and his battle against the Scarecrow, who has launched an attack on Gotham City, causing a citywide evacuation. To get rid of Batman, the Scarecrow unites Batman's greatest foes. And what could possibly happen here, guys? Is it possible that Batman will be fighting these foes? I think so. And the game is of course set in good old Gotham City. And from what we've been told, the game world is supposedly going to feel much more open to the player compared to the previous games, thus adding more freedom and exploration to the game. And I must say, I'm a sucker for open world games. The exploration and freedom elements you get in open world games are just so much more immersive. Arkham Knight also introduces the Batmobile as a playable vehicle, which can be used for both transportation or combat. Besides that, you can expect an even greater arsenal of Batman's weapons and gadgets to help you on your mission. Many of these gadgets that you may know from the previous games will return for your enjoyment, and this includes the classic grapnel gun, the line launcher, batarangs, and the countering system and detective vision. And in case you guys still haven't decided whether or not this game is going to be worth your money, then listen up, because Batman has gotten some pretty sick reviews. IGN has given Batman a 9.2 out of 10, saying that Arkham Knight is an outstanding game on almost every level. US Gamer gave it a 4 out of 5, saying Rocksteady brings the story of its version of Batman to a satisfying conclusion. There are some moments of tedium to be found, but if you want to be the Batman, this is one of the best experiences available. Video Gamer gave it a 10 out of 10, saying it's epic, it's grand, it's addictive, it's ridiculously good looking, and it's going to be remembered for a long time to come. A masterpiece. And I should mention, however, that GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10, which is actually, of all the reviews I've seen, that is the lowest one. A 7, that's still pretty good, right? Anyway, as I said, the game will be released tomorrow on June the 23rd. This is definitely a game that I will be playing, guys. Batman has never really been my favorite superhero. I've never really liked superheroes who are too close to being human. I like superpowers, but I'm really intrigued by the universe. I really think this dark, gritty universe where well, things aren't as bright and pony-like, you know. Evil is fucking evil in the Batman universe, and I like that. So what I'm about to tell you guys is probably going to make you a little happy. Just a little happy. Final Fantasy VII is being remade. Not just remastered, but remade. And it's important here to know the difference between a game being remastered and remade. A remastered game is the same game, but with some improvements added onto it. A remade game means that the game has been built up from scratch, so that means that everything is new. And that of course leads to greater changes, and it usually means that the game will be put on par with today's modern graphics, today's modern standards for gameplay and these elements. And as I said, a remake is on its way for Final Fantasy VII. Tetsuya Nomura, designer and director for Square Enix, is quoted saying, "I often hear from fans that simply giving it better graphics alone would be fine. But if that's all you want, then the previously mentioned Final Fantasy VII for PS4 would suffice. And with that, we'd have a much better looking Final Fantasy VII, says Nomura." He then continues to say, "I think if it came down to that, then there'd be no reason in doing a remake. And while it may be difficult, we are already prepared to doing it right if we're going to do it at all. I'm sure some of you may feel uneasy about this, but one thing I can say is that it won't be boring. And we'd like you to wait and look forward to what it will turn out to be." Unfortunately, we don't know too much more about the Final Fantasy VII remake. I can, however, tell you that I am sincerely looking forward to revisiting this now 18-year-old game and playing it with new settings and graphics. However guys, with remakes we need to manage our expectations. Keep in mind that while it may seem that they are adding additional elements to the game, then it's most likely still going to be the same story, the same characters, and the same endings that you may already know of. This is great for nostalgia, but that's probably about it. I think the people who are going to enjoy this remake the most are the people who never got around to playing the old game. You guys now have a fantastic opportunity to explore and play one of the best PlayStation games ever released, in my opinion. So you can definitely look forward to that. It's a fantastic game. And of course you'll be playing it with the new graphics, the new gameplay elements and all that good stuff. So I'm a little jealous. I wish I could go back, erase my memory and play Final Fantasy VII again. Unfortunately guys, there is at the moment, at least to my knowledge, no scheduled release date for the Final Fantasy VII remake. So we'll just have to wait for more news. But before we end, I have a few questions for you guys. How many of you guys will be playing the new Batman game that releases tomorrow? Also, how many of you guys played the old Final Fantasy game? And if you did, what do you think about them remaking the game instead of making a new game? And lastly, who would you rather go on a date with, Lara Croft or a non-psychotic version of Harley Quinn? That's what I want to know. Anyway, remember to subscribe for more gaming news. Thank you for watching, and bros, do you even nerd? Oh, and by the way, I'd go for Lara Croft. She's my girl.